All right, so here's the deal. Today we're going to talk about how you can build up to making $10,000 a month in government contracting. Okay, and we're going to talk profit, net revenue, but we're going to talk about profit because that's what you're, of course, looking to make, right? So there's some things that we need to think about. With 10K a month, what is that per year? That's 120K per year, just so we know where we're headed and what this is going to look like. So 120K, 10K a month, profit, cool. All right. There's some ways to back into this and divvy this out. And it's actually important. So you might want to write some of this down. I recommend that you actually go through some of these steps that we're about to jump into right now. So first off, I don't know where you're at in GovCon. You got your cage code last week. You got your cage code 2 years ago. I don't know. So what size contracts are you going after right now, if any? Right? So like, what are you comfortable with? Because if you want to make 120K profit per year, you're going to have to land, secure, bring in more than that, right? And probably around 5 times that. So what is essentially 120K? What's 12 times 5, right? It's $600,000. So if we're going to shoot for 600K throughout the year at 20% margins, that's going to get you around 120K profit. Divide that out monthly if you want to 10K per month. So if we're shooting at 600K, where are you comfortable? Where are you at? Are you already bidding on contracts? If you are bidding on contracts, are you bidding on like $10,000 contracts, $200,000 contracts? I mean, you answer the question for yourself. You tell me. Based on that comfortability, if you're on like really, really small contracts, you're gonna have to bump that because the numbers they're gonna have to work, right? So minimum 100,000. If we got to lock down 600K this year, I want your minimum being 100K that you're trying to secure, because then you're gonna have to win 6 of those, right? 100K times 6 is 600,000. Simple math. That's why I'm telling you guys to write this down. That's one way. If you're already going after bigger contracts, cool, because the math becomes simpler. If you're at 200K, you're going to have to land 3. If you're at 300K, you're going to have to land 2. Maybe you just land 1 for 600,000 and you call it a day. So that's kind of like the first step of a frame when it comes to knowing your numbers. And if you don't know where you're trying to go, you're probably not going to get there. So we're kind of setting the stage. We're clear on where we're trying to get. Next. Oh, also the 20% profit margins, service contracts, 15 to 20. We're being slightly more aggressive just to make the numbers work out. But it is still totally doable, even when you're legal middleman. Okay, so all good, 20%. Next, how many contracts do you need to bid on to win the number of contracts that you're trying to win? So again, that's highly speculative. What are your numbers? So most win ratios are going to be around 10 to 15%. Could be higher, could be lower, but 10 to 15%. So if it's 10%, it's 1 out of every 10. That means you lose 9. Okay, you have to be good with losing, right? Winners lose more than losers. And then it's closer to around 7, 8 contracts. If you want to improve your win ratios to 15+%, you're going to be winning every 7 or 8 contracts that you go after, which means you're going to be losing every 6 or 7. Again, you got to be comfortable with losing. If you know that, then every contract becomes a stone that you are going to turn over, right? So if you're trying to win one contract for 600K and just knock it out of the park and say your win ratio is going to be 1 out of 10, well, you need to be bidding on 10 contracts that are around 600K. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to go after, you have to practice what you want to get good at. So if you want to win 600K, you got to practice going after 600K contracts. Maybe you have to do it 9 times before you win, but maybe you win on the 3rd, maybe you win on the 5th. Okay? But on average here, That's the expectation. That is fairly healthy for you to set and move forward with. Now, again, if you want to win 3, you're going to have to do it 3 times. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have to go after 30 contracts if you want to win 3. So that's why the size of the contract really is going to matter, because it's just, you don't have to go after 30 contracts to win one $600,000 contract. Not usually. Okay, not usually. So it becomes more about, are you eligible? Are you compliant? Are you able to write the proposal, right? It's going to be a bit more lengthy, a bit more involved. But honestly, guys, it's not that much worse. What you have to provide, a staffing plan, a quality control plan, like what is it? Some experience? Okay, well, they'll ask that for the 100K contracts too, on occasion. So you might as well just go bigger, because until you get into the multiple millions of dollars, things really don't get to be too crazy for you all when it comes to your proposal development, when it comes to the subs that you're going to have to manage, when it comes to the deliverables and the processes you're going to have to do. I say it very often, like 100K contract can be just as much a nightmare as $1 million contract. So you might as well bid higher and make it worth it. Now, I know it's different once you get up to the higher stakes, but we're playing in a range here. And the range for GovCon startups is quite large. You want to multiply your profit by 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, we'll go after contracts that are 6, 7, 8, 9 times bigger than the ones you've been going after, which for most of you is still going to be under $1 million, which is for most of you, doable. Similar process, not going to be earth-shattering, groundbreaking stuff. Okay, so this should be encouraging for you to go after larger than maybe what some of you have been going after. Now, so we know our end goal, right? We're banking 20%, 15, 20%. Also depends on how you manage the contract, and that's why I'm not getting into it in this video. You can make more profit, you can lose profit depending on how the contract is managed, right? Especially if you're working with teaming partners. And then now we also know how win ratios work, and realistically, what the work is going to look like for you in the coming weeks and months. So now let's break that up. If you have to if you're just banking on bidding on 10 contracts for the whole year, maybe you want to up it a little bit to give yourself a bit more leeway, just in case, 12, 13, 14, to make sure you get that $600,000 contract to break out. Well, you're kind of shooting for 1 a month. Okay, 1 quality, proper scope, proper magnitude, contract, 1 a month. By the end of the year, you should have 1 to show for it. If you're going to break it up and you got to do 20, 30, 40 contracts, you're going to have to up the stakes. You might be having to do 3 or 4 a month, which averages out to 1 a week, which for a contractor who's been doing it for a year is doable. It's doable after the 6 to 9 month mark. It's doable to push out 1 a week. Highly don't recommend doing more than that unless you are in the busy season and you've got KOs just throwing work at you, or cores throwing work at you. Okay, burn the midnight oil. It's not sustainable. And or until you get to the point to where you start to build your team a little bit, and maybe you are delegating certain parts of getting quotes, writing proposals, et cetera, then yes, too, you can look at doubling your numbers, maybe doing 7 or 8 per month. And gosh, imagine what's going to happen then, especially as you win contracts, build past performance, start to gain confidence, understand the process, and go after bigger and bigger contracts. This is what happens, right? So it is largely about knowing your numbers. At this stage, 10K a month, it's all about knowing your numbers. It's not about getting lucky. If you are submitting even average level proposals, you're doing your research, you're using AI as a supplement, you are eventually going to win. You are eventually going to land a contract, and your whole way you think about this is going to shift. Or for those of you who have won multiple contracts, if you're watching this, when you add a person to the team, when you learn to start delegating and start approaching this a tiny bit at scale, there's going to be another massive shift that happens for you, right? Because you're getting work done without you doing it. Instead, part of your role is to like manage the person for them to do it, right? Also, a huge shift that takes place. But again, it all comes from knowing your numbers. So this is not complicated. The good news is it's clear. Simplicity equals speed, and complexity kills. If you're finding complexity, focusing on things other than what we're talking about, and you're trying to get to 10K a month, it's really not going to matter, like you can unroll the scroll when it comes to where you're putting your time. But we've got, I don't know how many, what the hateful eight, or like, what do you want to call them? If you're spending your time overly on websites, set-asides, CAPE statements, conferences, sources sought notices, direct marketing, email blasts, it's just, it's a waste of time, guys. It's taking away from you doing the work that we're talking about now, which just backs out from your numbers. Anything that's not in alignment with that as a revenue generating activity is overhead. And some of those things can be great supplements down the road. And some of you maybe are in a position to add those supplements to enhance your business presence. But if your business isn't paying you, you need to start there. You get me? And I don't care if you're working a full-time job, and that's paying you, cool. But until this business starts paying you, it's a hobby. This is not a business. Quit calling it a business. This is my GovCon hobby. My hobby. You haven't gotten checks, you haven't gotten invoices paid. It's your GovCon hobby. And you ain't got time to be doing all this fluff stuff if you're trying to turn your hobby into a business. You have to treat your business like a business, which means you need to feed it. Okay? To feed it, you have to generate revenue. To generate revenue, you have to put yourself out there and go after work and say, we can do this, and submit your proposal packages and all the stuff, right? All the stuff. Most of you can figure most of that out. It's usually you have a bad strategy. You're chasing the wrong things. You got bad advice from somebody. You worked with somebody for 6 months and you got like no results, or like you're watching a bunch of YouTube videos and YouTube University and you're not taking action. It's like this sort of stuff that's the killer, man. Or you bid on a couple and then you're like, I'm not winning. This is a waste of time, and you're a quitter. Like, I can't help you. You have to figure out if you want to do this or not. Winners lose more than losers. So what is your relationship with losing? If you're going to cry about it, go do something else. Because winners know that it's part of the process. And they have confidence in that because they also largely know their numbers. And knowing your numbers doesn't go away. The more established, the more your business grows, the more you actually care about your numbers, because then you're paying others and you're paying a team and you want to make sure, right? So yeah, it starts here. This isn't where it ends. This is where knowing your numbers starts, okay? Because you can get into building out pipelines and getting the softwares, which you don't need right now, and eventually start going after, sources sought and going more like left of the requirement. But you don't need to do that right now. If you're not at 10K a month, you don't need to do any of that. You don't need any of that. That is not necessary. What you need to do is click send 10 to 40 times on a proposal and pricing that's decent and competitive. You need to click send on that 10 to 40 times in 2026 within the dollar value range that you're, looking to secure for your contracts, and then hit me up at the end of the year and tell me how that went. Because that's what you need to do. Not supplies, not price-only contracts, proposals. Okay? Because everybody goes after supplies. Anybody can be the wolf on Wall Street and call around and get a number and feel like they're, getting rich, and really all you're doing is just wasting your time. Because you're going to have to bid on 50 to 100 of those contracts if you want to know your numbers for supplies. 50 to 100. Why? because everybody's doing them. It's way more competitive. It's race to the bottom pricing. And at the end of the day, you're not going to make 15 to 20% profit. You're going to make 5% or less. So even after all of that, you're going to have very little to show for it. And guess what? Most of them are one and done. It's one and done. So with services, very often these contracts have multiple option years, So the first year is just the base period. Do a good job, get it executed, do the same thing next year. Then when you go into the next year, you've already got 2, 3, 4 of these contracts that are going to execute. You're going to get paid for all over again. Then you land new contracts. You just win the same number of contracts as you did the year before. But in the next year, which is the first option year, you're going to get that plus the new business. So now you're going to double your business from doing the same amount of effort. So strategy, know your numbers, work smarter, not harder. Let me know what you think.